I woke up one morning thinking it would be just another quiet day, tending to the one thing in my life that always brought me peace: my plants. They weren't just decorations. They were living, breathing pieces of my home. Lilies leaning toward the kitchen window for light. Aloe vera standing strong by the front porch. A variety of blooms and greens, each one with its own rhythm, its own needs, its own personality. They were my sanctuary. But that sanctuary was about to be violated in a way I never could have imagined. Because in the corner of my life lived someone who had been slowly testing the boundaries between playful and malicious for a while now. My 16-year-old stepson, Sean. Sean loved to pull pranks. Little things at first: hiding my gardening tools, swapping them with broken ones, chuckling to himself when I discovered the trick. I didn't mind at first. I wanted him to be happy. I told myself this was normal teenage behavior. But a few days ago, he crossed a line. He posted a video online, him spraying cold water on me while I was sleeping. Not just recorded, but shared publicly with our family on Facebook. I woke up to not just the shock of water, but the sting of humiliation. I told him to delete it. I stood firm, even as he begged me to let him keep it up. His mother, my wife, even tried to convince me to let it slide, to allow him to repost it. But to me, there was nothing harmless about it. It was my dignity on display, without my consent. After that, Sean sulked. Days of silent resentment, broken only by a sudden shift in his tone. He came to me one afternoon, smiling, polite, even helpful. He asked if he could water my plants. I was relieved. Maybe he was trying to make amends. I handed him the watering can, told him to start with the ones in the kitchen, and went about my day. He disappeared for a few minutes, then reappeared, moving from plant to plant, carrying out the task without complaint. Later that evening, as I was cleaning my gardening tools, I noticed something strange: a sharp, chemical tang. I lifted the watering can to my nose. It wasn't water, it was bleach. My stomach dropped. I rushed to check the plants, touching the damp soil, smelling the leaves. The same sharp scent clung to them. It hit me in waves. The knowledge of what bleach does to living things, and the realization of who had done it. I confronted him. He played dumb at first, but I searched his room and found the bottle of bleach. When I brought it back, his face changed. He admitted it. He had poured bleach into the watering can and used it on my plants. Not by accident. Not as a joke gone wrong, but as payback for making him delete the video. It was deliberate, planned. I felt sick. These plants had taken years to grow. Some I'd raised from tiny shoots. Some had been gifts. Each one carried memories, and now they were dying in silence, poisoned in my own home by someone I'd been trying to build a relationship with. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just acted. I canceled the weekend trip to the national park we had planned, a trip Sean had been looking forward to for weeks. He cried. He said it was too much. He told me it was just a mistake, a moment of clouded judgment. But to me, there was nothing clouded about it. He had chosen to hurt me in the way he knew would cut deepest. When I refused to change my mind, my wife stepped in. She told me I was being unreasonable, that Sean was just a kid, that apologizing should be enough. She accused me of being stubborn, of not respecting her as a parent. She even said taking away the thing he looked forward to most reeked of abuse. But I couldn't let it go. Because here's what I've learned. Sean believes that if he admits to doing something wrong, he'll be forgiven without consequence. That's the pattern. That's the mindset. And his mother seems to agree with it. But in my eyes, that's not how the world works. Not with me. Not with anyone who values respect. I had already watched his pranks shift from playful to destructive. And now? This wasn't just a prank. This was targeted, intentional harm. He didn't just inconvenience me. He destroyed something alive, something I cared for, because he didn't get his way. And now, he's refusing to eat. He's pulling the strings of guilt, trying to turn the punishment into my fault. My wife is folding under it, siding with him. So here I am, standing in the wreckage of my plants, standing in the tension of my marriage, standing in the reality that I've become the bad guy in my own home for expecting accountability. So, am I the asshole? Because to me, this isn't about a canceled trip. It's about teaching a young man that when you hurt someone, truly hurt them, the words, "I'm sorry," are only the beginning. When I think about this story as your host, I can't help but see two different battles here. The first is about the plants, the deliberate act, the loss, the personal violation. The second is about parenting, about how two adults can look at the same situation and see completely different truths. One sees a kid who made a mistake. The other sees a pattern of entitlement being reinforced. And maybe that's why this story matters. Because accountability is uncomfortable, not just for the person being held accountable, but for the people who love them. It's tempting to smooth it over, to skip the consequence, to avoid the fight. But here's the thing. If someone never learns that actions have weight, they'll carry that ignorance into every future relationship, every workplace, every moment where empathy and self-control are required. And the cost will be far greater than a canceled trip. So to everyone listening, where do you draw the line between compassion and enabling? When does forgiveness become just another way to avoid conflict? And in your own life, when someone poisons the things you care about, literally or figuratively, do you let it go? Or do you stand your ground?